write these diaries because Greg is dead?
No way. There is no way. Yo, if you weren't reading Diary of the Wimpy Kid books when you were in like middle school, like 8th grade, 7th grade, somewhere along there, what were you doing? I mean, I don't even want to like talk about the amount of like iconic like memes this like book franchise created. And I got 2 words: cheese touch. No. Wait. And I know a lot of y'all watching got like PTSD from back in the day. And anyways, some of y'all are probably asking, yo Leo, what are you doing on this channel? I mean, you have a main channel, you got this channel, and a month ago you were posting like World Cup stuff, soccer stuff. What are you doing now? And whoever asked that question, I'm glad you asked. And to be honest, I don't fully know what I want to do with this channel yet. So for the time being, I'm just gonna mess around, do some reactions, right? Just do some casual reactions to popular videos I see on the internet. And today's video is gonna be a little bit special because it's my first like solo reaction. But anyways, enough with the yap, let's just get straight into it.
There is a single page in the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid book that, at first glance, seems completely normal. But there's something on this page that, once you see it, will forever change the way you look at these books.
Yeah, some of these pages had some crazy stuff.
Implication here that I don't think
that you just never paid attention to because you were so little.
For today.
What's that smell?
I knew that door had a lock on it!
Okay, now they're just trying to like creep you out. Hold on, lock in.
Zooey Mama.
Yo, I remember Zooey Mama. If you remember what Zooey Mama, people always used to spam that phrase when you were a kid. I remember it being from the books.
About a narcissistic kid named Greg Heffley who believes one day he'll be famous.
The only reason I agreed to write in this thing is because when I'm rich and famous,
wow.
I'll have better
bro, yo, this is bringing back some crazy memories, bro.
But until then, he's stuck in middle school dealing with his crazy family and the weird kids at school.
Wanna see my secret freckle?
Yeah, yo, there was some like odd. Yo, this kid right here was a threat. I remember this kid being like a random kid in the books, and every time he would show up, he would do some crazy stuff, like insane stuff. Like
I don't think I'm capable of figuring out what's going on with him. They've gone on to make 20 books, 4 Rowley spin-offs, and 7 movie adaptations. And
they had signs of Rowley spin-offs. I've never heard of those ones.
The weird thing about this is that.
Yo, I can't lie. I read all of these books, I think, and then I stopped some. Yeah, yo, I have that book. Getaway? I have that book.
Not only do these books get a lot more cartoony and unrealistic as they go along, but by book 20, Greg is still in middle school. He never ages.
You never take that in when you're reading this as a kid, bro.
A lot of different media about kids in school, but the thing that's interesting about Diary of a Wimpy Kid is that the books themselves are constantly acknowledging it. But for now, I'm stuck in middle school with a bunch of morons. To be honest,
bro, when you're reading this as a kid, you never actually take this in. Like you just like understand the comedic like relief that it brings you, but you never really take in like the unrealistic parts of the book. It's crazy, bro. I'd even take this in.
Honest with you, I feel like I've been stuck in middle school forever.
Yeah, and the book just tells you, bro.
Exactly the same as it always does.
You got kids like me who haven't hit their growth spurt yet, mixed in with gorillas who have to shave twice a day.
From the start, these diaries have been drawing attention to the fact that Greg doesn't age.
Damn,
which makes me feel like there might
deep,
be
bro.
some kind of in-universe explanation for it. And look, I promise this is not going to be another edgy, oh, Greg is actually dead theory. No, I think there's actually a much simpler explanation. These books are not the objective truth. They are diaries written by an egotistical sociopath who is constantly lying to make himself look.
He was an odd dude in these books.
Definition of an unreliable narrator. So, for all we know, Greg is
because he would just make stuff up.
For whatever reason, he's just choosing to lie about it in his diaries. That's the most logical in-universe explanation. Or, that's at least what I thought, until I found a very strange detail on page 122
yo, he's cooking. Hold on, lock it.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. A page that forever changed the way
this guy's a damn detective, bro. He's cracked the code, bro.
On this page, Greg talks about giving his parents the same gifts for Christmas every year. I gave mom and dad their gifts. I get them the same kind of thing every year, but parents eat that stuff up. And then we see a drawing of Greg
his parents
giving
are
his parents their gifts. Do you see anything wrong with this? look very...
So he's just giving the gift and they're just like, okay, they're clearly not happy. They're no smile. And these are the gifts. Okay, these are kind of cooked gifts to give your parents, I can't lie. And the same thing every year, like I would be kind of pissed, I can't lie. But yeah, they don't seem too happy, but that's about it. I mean, what else is not a crazy like page? Right? Or am I
Greg
bugging?
believes that his parents eat that stuff up. But
Yeah,
if
so
they're
wait,
drawing,
wait, hold on. Eat that stuff up. What does that actually mean?
his parents are clearly unhappy
enough pausing,
with
lock
their
in.
gifts. The
Yeah,
drawing
they're just unhappy.
contradicts Greg's opinion, which means Greg couldn't have written this page. Wait a second. Is Greg not the author of his diaries?
What? Okay, no, that's crazy. No, hold on. So the dude that we're reading the stuff about isn't even the dude who wrote the diary. Yo, again, you don't deep this as a kid. You don't really take this information in. You just read the book.
So, obviously I know that Jeff Kinney is the real author of these books, and all of this is just fictional. But I'm saying, in the universe of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, what if someone else is writing these diaries pretending
Yo, he's
to
asking
be
the right questions, bro.
Greg? Have you ever noticed how the diaries are constantly cutting to other perspectives when Greg isn't around? We've just had to assume that Greg either heard about these things after the fact, or maybe he was just exaggerating, but sometimes they really feel like they're telling us things that Greg wouldn't know. Mom likes to write these romantic comedies, and she
How would he know some of this
but I know
information if he
Dad
wasn't
is just
there?
waiting for the first chance to break away and go back down to the basement. How does Greg know?
He's not even here. It's not
who
even
else
present in the
but
room.
Frank would know what he was secretly thinking about in this moment. This doesn't feel like something he would tell his son about later. In fact, these books
He's
are
cracking the
full
code,
of
bro.
moments like this that feel like they're specifically from Greg's dad's perspective. Greg even claims at the start of Third Wheel that he can remember things.
How does he remember this? Do you remember this? No, no one remembers this. How does he, like, again, you don't take this in. You don't even take
And
in.
the things he remembers do feel kinda accurate, but wouldn't it make way more sense if these were actually Frank's memories from when his wife was pregnant?
Damn!
Frank is the real author of the diaries. What if these are books that Frank is writing based on his son's life for some unknown reason? And it's okay if you're not fully on board yet, because I didn't really take
Nah,
this
bro, I'm
either
on board, bro. I can't lie.
until
I always knew something was up with these books.
Insane. At the start of Dog Days, we are told that there is a newspaper comic called Lil Cutie that Frank and Greg read together.
I don't remember
every
Lil
day.
Cutie, I can't
and
lie.
we find out that Lil Cutie is
I
a
don't remember him,
comic
bro.
series that was written by a father based on his son. Look at these two drawings on the same page.
parallels, bro.
Can't
That's
tell me they
crazy.
aren't trying to frame Frank and Greg in the exact same way as the
That's what I'm
Lil
s-
Cutie
oh my
author
gosh, yo,
and
he's
his
cooking.
son.
Hold on.
And that's not even the craziest part, because on the very next page it says, I guess now that the real Little Cutie is all grown up material. His dad's having trouble coming up with new material. Is this not exactly what we've been talking about this whole time? The diaries get cartoonier and Greg never ages.
Because he never ages and
now
he's
that
always
his son
stuck in
is
middle
grown
school.
up, Frank is
New
out of
ideas are
material
impossible.
and he's forced to just make stuff up. We even find out in old school that Frank had a very similar childhood to Greg. He also had a best friend like Rowley, a
Yo, hold on. Yo, I swear it's the same.
memories.
You see how it's the same, literally the same parallel character. He's just writing about himself in his son's perspective, bro.
He also had a best friend like Rowley, a dog, and two brothers that annoyed him. So maybe some
he
of
had two
Greg's middle
brothers.
school stories are
Damn.
actually based on Frank's childhood memories.
Greg, we're a lot alike.
Everything here fits perfectly. Now, if you still don't believe me, then I have one.
Nah, bro, you can
final
end the video
question.
right here and I believe you,
A
bro.
question that's been right in front of our faces this entire time, but we never thought to ask it before now. Why are these books called Diary of a Wimpy Kid? Why would Greg, someone who is consistently shown as narcissistic and egotistical, ever refer to himself as Wimpy? Greg
Bro, he is breaking down this book page by page, bro. He's thinking about the questions we never dared to ask, bro.
has an extremely high opinion of himself. That's his main thing. But you does think Greg is wimpy?
His dad. Yo, things are coming back to me. Things are coming back to me. Hold on,
Dad
I'm
was
looking.
pretty mad at me for letting myself get bullied by a kid who was still in kindergarten. When Dad saw it, he said it was a girl bike and I should get rid of it.
Yeah, he was just straight up hating every book, bro.
Dollhouse. So yes, I believe for whatever reason, Greg's dad decided to write the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. Just like with Little Cutie, it ended up becoming a huge financial success, leading to a whole series of books and even a handful of movies.
I always figured they'd make a movie about my life, but I didn't think they'd start the story here.
Yo, who is moving like this in middle school? Yo, what I was worrying about was how much time I would spend at recess if it was raining outside. That's what I was worried about. This dude was thinking about magazines of himself.
I always figured they'd make a movie about my
That's
life.
crazy, bro.
This line implies that these are in-universe movies based on the diaries. And Greg did actually become famous he always wanted, but what if it's because
Hey, bro,
his
that's
father
crazy, though.
decided to
He really-
create a best-selling life?
Hold on.
And that is my Diary of a Wimpy Kid theory. Case closed. Yep, I'm pretty sure we...
No way,
we
bro.
wrapped up everything.
No, there's more to this.
I know I always say that, and then there's a big surprise plot twist in these videos, but like this time we're done for sure. You can just leave. We're all done. Don't look at the runtime of
You
the
hear
video.
the suspense, bro? Something's about to go down, bro.
So, I genuinely wanted to end the theory here and be done with it, but there's a scene in the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie that I can't stop thinking about. I don't even want to show it because I promised I wasn't gonna do this, but just take a look for yourself.
He had to eat his lunch on the floor.
I was right. You're not even gonna make it out of there alive.
Damn.
The only chance
Yo,
you
I'm
get
guessing
in the yearbook is when
this
they
is older brother.
dedicate it to your
Yeah.
memory.
I think it's his older
The
brother.
only chance
Yeah, he
you'll
was
have
deadass
of
hating, bro.
making the yearbook is if they dedicate it to your memory. Wait a second. Could that be what these movies are? Did Frank write these diaries because Greg is dead?
No way. There is no way I was reading about a kid who was dead the entire time. There is no way, bro. That's crazy, bro.
What
That's
the
crazy.
Wasn't gonna do another they were dead the whole time theory, but I swear this is not your usual edgy run-of-the-mill Greg's in purgatory theory. There's something to this. And I know people have already suggested this before, but what I have never seen anyone talk about is the fact that there are so many moments in these movies that talk about Greg like he is dead or going to die.
You'll be dead or homeschooled by the end of the year anyway.
You're not even gonna make it out of there alive.
He will kill you. Literally kill you.
You're dead.
Move over. I'm dying. He'll kill me. You're killing me. You know that? You guys are dead. I don't
Oh my gosh. No way, bro.
kill me if she knows where he
No way, bro.
You're so freaking dead.
I'll die.
You can't call if you're dead.
You can kill me.
She's gonna bust.
We're dead.
Mom,
Dead
You're
kills?
so dead.
Greg, you are
Literally, bro.
Goodbye,
Half.
Gregory.
That's crazy.
You will always be remembered.
When they dedicate it to your memory.
Like, I'm not crazy, right? That's a
21
weird amount of
lines, bro.
references to Greg's death. And remember, these are the same movies that decided to unambiguously tell us that Greg is famous enough to get a movie made about him.
I always figured they'd make a movie about my life.
Maybe they're also telling us the reason why, and these are just actors portraying someone who tragically passed away. And it's not just the movies either. In Dog Days, when Greg is talking about reading in school, he says this very interesting line. I'm not really sure what makes a book a classic to begin with, but I think it has to be at least 50 years old, and some person or animal has to die at the end.
Yo.
And then later
Bro, I don't even know
on,
what
when
to
he has
say.
read Charlotte's Web, he says, just from looking at the
Yo, I remember Charlotte's Web. I remember this book. Yo, this book. I think there was a movie on this book. I'm pretty sure we watched at the end of the semester or whatever. But
cover, I guarantee either the girl or the pig doesn't make it to the end of the book.
wow.
Look, I know I might be going
that's
off
deep,
the
bro.
rails here, but wouldn't it be so tragically ironic if Greg actually did become as famous as he wanted, but it was only because of his death?
I always figured they'd make a movie about my life, but I didn't think they'd start the story here.
That's why they adapted the diaries into movies. That's why he's always been stuck in middle school. And
So he really died and they made a biopic on him, bro. That's crazy, bro.
the real reason why his father decided to write a book series about him, to keep his memory alive. And look, it's okay if you're not fully on board yet, because I've still got some really big
W Dad though, but why'd you name him Wimpy, bro?
I want to take
That's
a
the
look
book title.
at how I
It's kinda
think
crazy,
the
bro.
real Greg Heffley might have died. And just a warning, this will probably sound like a lot of random speculation at first, but I promise it'll all come together in the end.
The fire.
Going back to the movie that told us about Greg's fame and possible death, there's a scene where Roderick tells Greg and Rowley a scary story about a nearby forest called Devil Worshipper Woods.
Yeah, his brother was also a hater, I can't lie, bro.
They had to tear it down because what happened there was so terrible. 2 kids who were, I don't know, maybe in middle school. They trick-or-treated that house on Halloween night, but the house was full of
Like,
devil.
what did he gain from telling him this, like,
Roderick
scary story,
tells
bro, on
them
the day of
about a house
Halloween,
that
bro?
abducted children and cooked them in an oven, but that ultimately
Damn.
led to an accidental fire
That's
that
crazy.
burned down the house with everyone inside.
But they forgot to turn off the ovens, so the house burned down with everyone in it.
Now, this is obviously just a story Roderick is making up to scare Greg. They even go to the woods later and only see Fregley.
Yo, you see what I'm, yo, this dude was a threat, bro. Every, look at him, bro. He was just a threat. This dude just used to, like, do this as, like, a side quest, bro, and just scare people, bro. Like, I felt bad for him in the
But what if
books
there's
too,
a
bro. He
nugget
wasn't
of
even
truth
trying
in
to be,
this story?
like...
Because later, in Roderick Rules, we briefly see a newspaper that seems to be talking about some kind of fire. And in the books, there are several references to house fires, including an instance where Greg actually accidentally causes one in their home.
Damn.
There's also this insane deleted scene from the 3rd movie where Manny ominously talks about an accident.
You threw Tingy away.
Well, it was an accident.
Tingy says you're going to have an accident.
Odd thing for a child to say, bro. I would be concerned, bro.
That scene. There are
I would be
a
very
lot of
concerned
weird
if I was a
references to
dad.
some kind of accident or house fire throughout the franchise. What if these are hints about how Greg actually died? But if so, when and how did this happen? Well, here's my theory. In Roderick
let him
Rules,
cook, yo.
Roderick throws a party when their parents and Manny go out of town.
And don't have anybody over this weekend.
Again, bro, this guy was actually a
Tells
threat
Greg
to
that he can
society,
join the
bro.
party, but ends up locking him in the basement
Yeah,
instead.
like...
We need chairs from the basement.
You see, yo, this dude was actually funny, bro. What-
I don't need a middle schooler ruining my...
Bro, this guy... Oh, yo, I'm getting, like, flashbacks to this dude. This dude was a threat, bro. I'm telling y'all, bro.
Greg is able to escape and join the party, but in the books, Greg is trapped there all night, and he says that it was so cold that he practically froze to death. But the next day, he gets out and they quickly clean up before their parents come home. They even have to replace one of their doors, but they do finish in time.
See?
Yo, I would... Yo, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I would not help the dude clean up. I don't know why he did it in the books. Like, he just casually, after getting locked in the basement by the same dude, and then you help him the next day clean up. Nah, bro. I'm gonna be honest, bro.
Look at what the diary says.
I'm
about
sleeping in my
their
bed, bro.
parents'
I'm sleeping the
reactions
entire
when
day
they
out, bro.
First get home. Mom and Dad's car rolled into the driveway right when we were tightening the last screw. You could tell they were pretty relieved the house hadn't burned down when they were away.
Another fire, yo.
Interesting.
Another fire.
Another very specific reference to an accidental house fire. Again, that's weird, but obviously there was no actual fire here. I mean, in every version of the story, there's a crazy party, and Greg gets trapped in the basement, but the house never burns down. But what if it did?
And they wrote
Remember,
it
this
the other way
diary,
around?
and by extension the movies based on them, are unreliable narrators, possibly written by a grieving father who wants to keep the memory of his son alive. So we don't know for sure what actually happened when Greg was locked in that basement all night. The basement that Frank has warned them to stay out of. The basement that Greg was practically freezing to death in with no source of warmth. Except, that's not entirely true, because we also know that the basement is the house's furnace room.
No way, bro.
Tried to get warmer by messing with the furnace, but instead he ended up accidentally starting a deadly house fire. Yes, I believe that Greg...
I won't even be surprised, because this dude used to actually cause issues. Like, I'm not even surprised if that happened.
Everything after this page is a complete and total lie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big claim.
Yeah.
I know. And
Damn.
I did warn you, this would sound like a lot of random speculation, but I do actually have the evidence to back it up. To start off, remember that newspaper that mentioned a fire? Well, Greg gets it as he's cleaning up the party.
This is in the movies, I'm guessing, yeah.
And it mentions the fire happening at 6 a.m. when Greg still would have been freezing in the basement. And also, look at what happens immediately after this page in the movie.
You are in so much trouble.
She's gonna kill both of us.
Greg and Roderick are unambiguously depicted as dead. This theory also explains why a lot of the
How would he die? You started the party, dude. What are we talking about here? You started the party.
references also include Roderick.
She's gonna kill both of us.
We're dead.
Who's we, bro?
Mom would kill us, and I am a dead man.
Since he would likely be a victim of the fire as well.
The house burned down. So he might have died as well, bro.
Frank even describes the smell of Roderick's room as unidentifiable.
What is that smell? I can't even identify it.
But the real reason why I think this fire theory is so compelling is because of the very strange way that Frank starts to act when he gets home. Yes, that is correct. I am finally going to talk about the thing that has been all over TikTok for the past year.
When this was a big meme, this scene, this was so funny because this dude was going crazy, bro. Yo, I'm pretty sure it's the dad, bro. It was so jokes.
Depiction of Frank.
Guess who's the laugher now? Me! I'm the laugher! Ah! I knew that door had a lock on it, and everybody was trying to make me feel like
It's a well-made video, bro.
I am far from the first person to notice this, but in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies, Frank acts legitimately insane. To the point where it's kind of become a meme to joke about him being this serial killer guy that might have killed his family.
Hey, what are these?
No video games.
What are these
no
theories,
television
bro?
for the rest of the summer.
Dad, no!
I stopped laughing. I stopped.
Yo, he did not need to crash out like this. This was not even a valid crash out, bro.
Guess who's the laugher now? Me!
Yeah, like he's like
the laughingest laugher that ever.
without any context, you would genuinely think this guy's crazy. Like,
But the thing that's interesting to me that I haven't seen anyone talk about is that Frank doesn't really start to act like this until after the Roderick Rules party, when he becomes extremely paranoid and starts to believe that something's wrong with the house.
So, who came over this weekend?
yo, this is I don't know how they didn't fold, bro. Yo, this is so jokes.
You guys got something you want to tell me? What was General Grant doing on the thermostat?
He acts this way.
Yeah, I don't know how they didn't fold,
but in
bro. I
the
would've folded.
movies, he really acts like he's losing his sanity over
I
the
like it.
little inconsistencies in the house.
I knew that door had a lock on it, and everybody was trying to make me feel like I was losing my mind.
This roller skating kid is really good. Don't you think that he's gonna go?
Just blatantly talking to
What
himself,
if
bro.
what we're actually seeing is Frank having some kind of mental breakdown because he couldn't handle the reality of coming home to find his house had burned down with both of his children inside?
What is that
Oh my
smell?
gosh, bro.
I can't even identify it.
I think that Frank would be incapable of accepting this horrible truth, so instead, he's staying in denial and imagining that the fire never actually happened and that his children are still alive.
Deny, deny, deny.
Got it. Deny, deny, deny.
The reason why Frank is fixating on the little differences in his house, like the bathroom lock being different, is because in reality, he's actually already moved into an entirely new home.
And he's writing
Fire,
about
but he'd rather concoct a
the
whole
kids, bro.
elaborate story about his children replacing the door than accept the truth.
I knew that.
It was a coping. He was coping, bro.
Deny.
And he wrote the books
Also,
for
remember
that.
that terrifying Manny deleted scene?
Tingy says you are going to have an accident.
Yeah, it's just an odd thing for a child to say, I can't lie. Yeah, I would be concerned, bro.
This scene makes no sense in the context of this movie, but with this theory, it just fits so perfectly. This is a moment of truth sneaking into Frank's delusions. His subconscious is telling him about the accident, but he is completely unable to accept it.
The house burned down with everyone in it. Deny, deny, deny.
Yeah, now they're trying to be scary, bro.
That is the real reason why Frank decided to create a diary pretending to be his son, Greg, so that he could continue to remain in denial about his death forever. I told you it would all click together. It's possible Greg did actually have his own diary at some point, and now Frank is just continuing it. But either way, I think that the books that we are reading are a strange denial fantasy that Frank is writing to cope with his son's death.
Wow.
This also gives a whole new meaning to why Frank is so protective over the basement in these books. The basement is where Frank works on his Civil War dioramas.
Yeah, I remember this in books. He had a crazy obsession with like toys, with like Civil War toys, like army, like military toys, which was kind of like crazy, bro, in the books, bro.
Really strict about not wanting anyone to go down there. But maybe, even in his fantasy, Frank actually wants to keep his kids away from the basement that caused all of this.
Roderick!
There's also this moment at the end of the Roderick Rules movie where Frank realizes his entire family is no longer sitting with him.
This roller skating kid.
So he was really talking to himself, bro. So is he like hallucinating all these things in the movie as well, bro? I'm guessing like he's just hallucinating his family, like he doesn't even know himself anymore. And then he wrote the books to fix that, bro.
And people like to joke about how Frank is realizing his entire family is dead or whatever, which doesn't exactly line up with my fire theory since Susan and Manny would still be alive. But if Frank has turned the loss of their children into a fictional best-selling franchise for money, then I could totally see Susan divorcing him and taking Manny. I mean, she was very much depicted as someone who believes in honesty.
You lied to me, and you know how I feel about that.
So I think this scene actually works really well with this theory.
Don't you think that?
Wow, bro.
Whether or not you agree with every part of this theory, you have to admit there's a lot of really compelling connections here, and it offers us a very tragic new way to read these books. Nothing of what we see in these diaries is the full truth. It's a combination of both Frank's true memories of his son and fictional ones he's created to keep the lie going.
Yeah.
We have to think of these books as more
That's a
than just
valid
Frank
theory, bro.
and Greg. They're a weird amalgamation of them both. In a sense, these books are the story of Freg.
Who the hell Freg, bro? Who is...
Wait a second.
Wait, what?
Oh, what the fuck?
I told y'all, when I was reading these books, I always knew there was something up with this character, bro. There was always something up with this character, bro.
Fregley
I just couldn't decipher what,
felt
bro.
Like a real person. We never actually learn anything about him beyond the fact that he is this weird, inhuman freak.
Y'all see that? Y'all see what I'm talking about?
We never about him beyond the fact that
this dude just straight up ate his hand. You see what he... Mind you, I think it's a school cafeteria, bro. Just straight up went for his hand. Why? We still don't know. Who knows, bro? Who knows? He just felt like to. Like, he finished his food and he just felt like eating his hand.
He is this weird, inhuman, freaky kid who's always around.
Wanna see my secret freckle? I'll sign it, Greg Heffley, if you let me look at your infection.
What if that's because
this is the type of stuff I'm
actually
talking
real?
about, bro.
He was always something made up for the diary. What if Fregley is actually a symbolic representation of both Frank and Greg. You have to admit that their canon full names, Franklin and Gregory, sound a whole lot like Fregley when combined. Because he
that's
is
crazy,
a representation
that's actually
of
insane.
the dark truth that Greg is actually dead and Frank is pretending to be him.
Another
It's
coping,
why
like he's just
Fregley
coping,
is
bro.
depicted
Coping
as this
mechanism,
weird
bro.
Kind of disgusting kid. Because deep down, Frank is disgusted with himself for what he is doing. And this disgust and shame manifests in the diaries as Fregley. It's why in both the books and the movies, Greg is mistaken for Fregley.
No, yo, that's crazy.
Hi, Fregley.
I remember this. That's like...
Fregley?
Why does Fregley have a secret language? Because Greg has a secret language. Why does Fregley want to show his secret freckle?
Yo, this is too much to take in, bro.
Greg also recently discovered a new freckle. And what does Fregley do in the Town Talent show? he's a ventriloquist speaking for his puppet.
Say hello to the boys and girls, Freggers. Hello, boys and girls.
Look at the dad. Look at the dad,
way
bro.
Frank speaks for Greg. And finally, remember the Devil
parallels,
Worshipper
bro.
Wood story? This was the story that first hinted about Greg's accidental house fire. What does Greg actually find when he goes there?
Frankly. Yep.
Fregley, because Fregley represents the dark truth in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and that is my theory. Thank you very much, Zoom Mama.
Yo. Bro, were these 5 different theories, bro? I think these were all different theories that were combined together, bro. Bro, we really just took in that Greg is dead, Frank is writing the books, and Frank created a character named Fregley to cope with this loss. Bro, Alex Bale, bro, you're cooking, bro. That was a crazy video, bro. How long? 26 minutes, bro, and he broke down the entire like franchise, bro. Entire franchise in just a small video, bro. It's crazy, bro. Anyways, y'all, that's it for me. If y'all want more videos where we just react to stuff y'all want, let me know in the comments. Again, y'all, I'm still in the phase of experimenting with different types of videos before I settle into one type of video. So anyways, y'all, that's it for me. I'll see y'all in the next